It gives me great pleasure to introduce you guys to Peter from the band Hypocrisy. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you very much. Glad to be there, or here, or how you see it.
Yeah. I'm absolutely stoked to have you on the show. I'm a big fan of Hypocrisy and Pain as well.
Oh, thank you.
I really love my sort of industrial metal and electronic infused metal and stuff like that. And yeah, I've got your albums and stuff like that, and it's just like, this is great for me. I love it.
Thank you very much.
But we're not here to talk about Pain, unfortunately.
No, exactly. But thank you anyhow.
No, it's all good. And well, we're here to talk about Hypocrisy today. You guys are about to release a brand new album at the end of November, the 26th of November to be specific. Called Worship. I've been fortunate enough to hear it, and I'm loving it. Away from the songs you've released already, which was Chemical Whore and Dead World, and stuff like that. I'm loving was it Children of the Grey and Gods of the Underground as well.
All right, cool.
And yeah, just like it's. I mean, we'll get onto the sort of like ins and outs of the album in a moment, but I just want to sort of tell you how much I like it, really, to start with.
Oh, that's really nice of you. Thank you, man.
No, that's all good. And yeah, it's your first album in 8 years.
Yeah.
It seems to be the most documented thing on there, and it's I mean, you know, what took you so long on that front?
I think everybody knows that follows what I do knows that I've been pretty busy for the last 8 years. I mean, having 3 bands at the same time, and touring with 3 bands at the same time, it's really hard to juggle all the balls in the air, so to speak, because most of the shit always lands on me, or everything lands on me, unfortunately. So, I mean, there's been a lot of albums in between, and there's still a couple albums to come that's got in between, so to speak, over the 8 years. So, I mean, we were constantly touring, both with Pain, Hypocrisy, and Lindemann. Yeah. I mean, not constantly with Lindemann, but at the end of the era we had, we started to really touring as well with that. So that even made it even more stressy, you know, to do all these things, and time flies. Yeah. And I wasn't really motivated to write anything because I couldn't really focus on what I wanted to do with Hypocrisy.
Okay.
The only thing I lately always stuck to is like, keep Hypocrisy. And that's actually why I started Pain in 97, 96, you know, because I had more ideas, but that would fuck up Hypocrisy and its style. And I didn't really want to do that because in the mid 90s, all the death metal bands started going different ways, you know, leaving the death metal kind of thing and then moved on. And I think it's a natural progression, you know, for bands to start developing. It was the same with us. The 2 first albums we did with Hypocrisy, I was very influenced by the late 80s and 90s, beginning of 90s death metal bands like Morbid Angel, Deicide, Entombed. So that's what I wanted to play. Yeah. So that's what I did. And then on the 3rd album, you start developing your own kind of things to put in there. And it took us 10 years to find our unique style, I would say. You can definitely tell when you hear Hypocrisy, it sounds like Hypocrisy. Yeah. Even if you don't know it, it is Hypocrisy. So you should value that and you should protect that, I would say. So now with this album in mind, I just wanted to keep Hypocrisy, and just write good songs, better songs with a fatter production. And I think that's what we did. Michael and Horde, they contribute with a couple of riffs each, and of course my son Sebastian wrote Dead World that me and him had in a project before I started to write for Hypocrisy. So our father and son project kind of gave me a bloody tooth in 2017. So 2018 and 19, the new Hypocrisy album is written and recorded.
Yeah. So did like lockdown and whatnot stop you guys from releasing it early, or was it more of a sort of conscientious kind of decision on that front?
I don't know. There was still touring with Hypocrisy in 2019. We did a headline tour in America. We did a support tour for Amon Amarth, and in between, there was a lot of things, fixing the Hypocrisy album, making the last Lindemann album as well at the same time. So there was a lot of things going on, and but after when the lockdown happened, that's when I was supposed to start mixing Hypocrisy album, but I felt like, I'm not in a hurry. So I just laid on the couch for a half a year and got fat and eating and just trying to recharge.
Yeah.
From a busy 30 years in this. So after that, I just jumped in and mixed it. And then we were just sitting. And then we figured out, like, okay, we can't release this within 3-4 months after I give them the master, because nobody can print, because all the restrictions during the pandemic and things. Now they talked about, like, no, it's 9 months now, because, if you want to release the violence at the same time, there's nobody there that can do it, because they're overworked and underpopulated, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah.
So that made it even longer process.
Was there any temptation to go back and tinker with the album in that time, or were you happy with once it was done? It was done.
I tinkled a little bit while I was mixing it, but in a different way. Yeah. I could change around with some stuff here and there, but nothing major. So I would say it was a good plan to write the album during this 18 and 19. And then put it aside, and then come back and mix it a year after, almost.
Yeah.
So fresh ears, and then it was a lot easier. Yeah, for sure. Some stuff I took away. Basically, the vocal stuff I got a little picky with and took away some stuff, and just rearranging it. Yeah. After resting your ears, so to speak.
Yeah, I was going to say, does this, because I've asked a few bands this in the time, and it's differed in answer, but with the sort of lockdown that happened to everyone, a lot of people's albums, same sort of situation as yours, were kind of done just as a year or two, or it was done by the lockdown, and then during the lockdown they kind of didn't know whether to release it or anything like that. But some of them went back and, like I say, tinkered with it, rewrote parts, things like that, because they had the time to do it. But with this, this because of what's happened, would this change your sort of future album writing? Actually purposely having that break? Because like you say, fresh ears, on listening to the mix and things like that and getting that mix done. Do you think you would do that for future albums, or do you think that is something that is just because this had happened, it was just fortunate enough to have that happen?
Yeah, no. It was just it just happened because of the situation, I would say. And normally when you mix, you start getting the ground sets together, so to speak. Yeah. And from there on, it's always good to only mix for 3 hours a day.
Yes.
Mix a little bit, go home, because as soon as you walk out of the studio, go home and sit for a half an hour, or whatever, and then go back there, your ears are fresh, to be honest. Yeah. So you don't need a half a year or anything. You just need a few hours.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. No, I was just curious on that front. On that, and what I want to touch back on actually is just a bit of your past, just before we talk about a bit more in depth about the album, your time in Florida. Now, this is something that I've had personal experience with as well. I lived in Florida for 5 or 6 years.
Cool.
I was in Tampa, and
okay.
It was a bit more recent. It was in the last sort of. I came back to England in 2017, so I went out there at 2012. Yeah, it makes sense. 2012.
All right,
but no, it kind of. I don't know about for you, because obviously you said that you're very sort of influenced by the bands that were around there at that time. Because the death metal scene in Florida is legendary in that respect.
Yeah, and I was fortunate to be there from 88 to 91, seeing all these bands popping up, and it was insane, and it influenced me a lot.
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to sort of align on that, and just sort of say because my time out there, I spent quite a bit of time with local bands. They're not necessarily death metal, but all different styles, and it really did invigorate my kind of because I used to be in a band back in the early 2000s, and did that for a long time. But I kind of like fell out of love with it, if that makes sense.
But sometimes, you know, if the heart is not there, it doesn't make sense to do it. You will just either drag your partners down, or you will just be miserable. You know, it's these two things. If you're not happy with the thing and you really think hard about it, not just like some kind of impulse and go, oh, I don't like this anymore. That's stupid. But if you really start thinking about it more and more, and then you have to make a decision, I guess, because otherwise you drag down the rest of the guys in the band or yourself even. You know, you make yourself a really miserable man.
Yeah, this is very true. This is very true. But like just being out there, it was a totally different kind of scene, if you will, to give it a name. A lot of bands, like, just along with their musical sort of like styles and everything they were doing, which was very good, the scene that they had, the community that they've still got out there is amazing. Kind of reminded me of back when here, and then kind of as I fell out of love with it, it was like it wasn't my generation anymore, kind of thing. Kind of felt
I don't know what happened. I can only tell you what happened between 88 and 91 in Florida. And I lived down in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
At the time. So it was a little further down, but all the Tampa bands and you know, even Cannibal Corpse moved down to Tampa or Orlando. I can't remember, from Buffalo and things. And there was a lot of people emigrating down to Florida because all the friends you had, they were never from Florida. They were always from somewhere else. Either the parents moved down and they did, or, you know, when they got 18 or something, they just packed their shit and went down themselves. Yeah. So, I mean, it's different for different people there. But most of them, there was nobody that really actually was from Florida.
Yeah, no, this is true. There was only, I think I met like maybe 3 or 4 native Floridians. But the rest were from Northern Territories around that area. They've come down for the sun and the beaches and you know, and I guess, you know, whatever lifestyle they wanted to have. So
but it was great. We went down to a place in Hollandale. It's like between Fort Lauderdale and Miami, and it was a place called Treehouse at that time. And every weekend there was bands playing there, anything from Obituary to you name it. You know, it was a great thing to be a part of, to go there every weekend, drink some beers and watch some really cool music that you never even, you know, bands you never even heard of. So Sadus and all these bands, and it was like, wow, you couldn't believe it. I was like, really? Is this the demo stadium of American bands? Holy shit, Sweden sucks. Because they were all fucking good, you know, that played there. Because I didn't realize that, you know, they put the boundaries down for what the hell was gonna happen.
Yeah, it's it's still a hell of a place for music. It's I found it like you say, local venues and stuff like that. I had a few around me. The Orpheum, in Tampa, the couple of venues in St. Petersburg as well, which were like just amazing. Just like the lineup of bands they had, not just local but national touring acts and stuff like that. And the cost, it was so damn cheap. So damn cheap.
Yeah, definitely.
That is a big bugbear coming back here and paying for tickets. And so,
I mean, we I mean, we had a good. Me and my friends, we had a good schedule every week. We knew when there was 50 cent a beer in every place in certain days. So we went to these, okay, on Monday we go there because, you know, a pitcher $2 or whatever. And we went to all these places every fucking day. We knew everyone who had special prices and shit. And you just had a blast, to be honest. I think, you know, they had a place called Button South where I saw Creator there. I think they played in 88, 89. I can't remember exactly year. And Summer at the Beach, it was called. It was another place that where I saw Testament on New World Order, and a lot of bands there came there. There was like a bigger, fancier place, like 1,500, 2,000 people, if I can remember. And it was just great. You just went everywhere. You could go every day. I mean, I was 18 years old. I had a fake ID. I was just going everywhere. It was great.
Nice.
And, you know, so we went to all these fucking places, and it was amazing. Watching bands and drinking beers.
It's amazing. It's love it. Well, I mean, back to you guys' album. Back to the emotional part.
Oh shit!
Just
I forgot about that.
No, it's all right. It's all right. It's all good. I just like to get, because I know some people, like to get it on track and everything, because we could waffle for hours otherwise. It's due out on, like I say, the 26th of November. And like I say, you've released the 2 tracks already. Do you have any other tracks planned for release before it, or are you keeping those and then the rest of it's just going to come out on that day?
On Friday, actually, Children of the Grey is coming out.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, with an animated video. The same guy who did Carcass animated video. Custom something. A really cool guy.
Yes.
And he did an amazing job. He actually customized the work for us, with the meaning of the lyrics and everything. So it's an amazing story he made, I think.
That's amazing, because I love that track. It's actually my favorite track on the album.
Cool. Thank you.
So that's really good. I look forward to seeing that on Friday. And I'm just like what sort of, because obviously you've gone with the name Worship, and the artwork kind of shows what's the word? It's like kind of like a Mayan temple, but it's sci-fi, if that makes sense. People worshipping and whatnot. But what's the sort of go on.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what is there a story that goes through the album? Have you got a particular theme throughout the album, or just sort of what is it?
I mean, I came up with this cover in 2017, I think, in a hotel room in LA, and I was laying in the bed, I was going to sleep. I don't know what I was doing there, because I went to LA a couple of times a year just to write music and just hanging with my friends and shit. But I got this epiphany, or whatever you call it, and I just found this napkin, and I just started drawing on it, because I knew what I wanted, but I don't know how to draw for shit, So I draw this really shitty pyramid on a napkin with the Hypocrisy.
Yeah,
and I immediately told my friend Gerardo, that's CEO of Nuclear Blast in America. I was like, can you help me get this thing together? And he helped me brainstorm with this thing. And I said, I wanted, like, in the 70s, you remember Electric Light Orchestra?
Yeah.
They had like their logo as a spaceship, and I think Boston had it too. And I was like, I want to do something like get the crosses to be spaceships and shit, And while I was doing that, I was like, fuck, it should be called Worship. It was just right there. When I could imagine the cover, it was just like, okay, this is Worship.
Yeah.
And then I started to write lyrics and stuff for that. I mean, of course, Blake Armstrong did a killer job with this. He did more than I could expect, when Nuclear Blast sent it over to him and tried to make it happen, like my ideas and my visions, so to speak, and he took it, even further. So I'm really happy with that. But Worship, I mean, it's just what society is today,
Yeah.
In the society with algorithms and artificial intelligence tells you what to do.
Yes.
And you see all this shit, either you worship the left, you worship the right, you worship the climate change, you worship bloggers, you worship sports stars. You name it. It's about fucking worshiping every fucking thing. You can't be normal on nothing,
Yeah.
It's just all the way with all kinds of shit, and maybe we should have called it fanatic, but, worshiping or fanatic is kind of the same thing, but in a different way, I would say.
Yes, no, it's definitely. No, that's kind of like.
So that runs through a red line through lyrics on all the songs, I would say.
Yeah, I was going to say that's how it felt. Like when I was listening to it, it was very like having that kind of like it's almost like that kind of like worshipping false idols, if you will. It's that kind of like you say, we worship like TV celebrities, bloggers, flavor of the
religion,
month, Netflix, and all that kind of stuff. It's that constant kind of like people are trying to find something to follow because they don't have anything else, or don't feel that they have any.
No, there's no normal guidelines anymore. It's all gone.
Yeah.
Like live well, be polite, treat people as you want to be treated. There is nothing like that anymore. It's just like everyone for themselves and, their own little world, the bubble. I'm not blaming everybody else. I'm blaming myself as well, because sometimes I get really fanatic too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so same here. It's kind of, I live by the sort of like the following someone on it like fanatically, but Bill and Ted, like, it's that be excellent to each other, that kind of thing. That's, sort of thing that I have, but I'm not following Keanu and everyone around. So, what you do. But that simple thing is, it's just that isn't really there as such. So it's, I definitely felt that throughout the album. That's why I was asked that particular question. I just wanted to make sure it was something like that and not something completely different. But
I mean, also, I also, there's also like Gods of the Underground, and it's based on like, really the earth is like a honeycomb, full of caverns everywhere. And this is my story. I believe that, we've been, I don't know how many civilizations has been extincted on this earth since they believably say it's 4.5 billion years old. Earth, there's a lot of civilization come and go. I would say, and I think some of them survived by going underground, and so that's really, a little bit about the bloodline and everything, how they survived and kept on ruling Earth, like. For instance, the Homo sapiens sapiens has been detected on Earth 150,000 years ago. I mean, the more smarter version of people, so to speak, not the Neanderthals or anything like that, but what we are today. They discovered them in Africa, and they saw how they moved up the Middle East and then to Europe and then to Asia and then America, blah, blah, blah. But for the last 150 years, not 150,000, but 150 years, all of a sudden the evolution of the Homo sapiens sapiens just exploded. We got so much smarter. We started developing and blah, blah, blah. So I think, someone tampered with our DNA to help us a little on the way, to develop as people. Eating with forks and sitting on chairs. No, but you know what I mean? Yeah. But I think that we kind of overdid it. And that's really also what the cover is about. We're fucking it up instead now.
Yeah.
It went too far. So now they're coming back to collect and to punish us. Really, that's how you can see the song Worship is all about.
Yeah, definitely. It's no, we definitely as a people accelerated, like, not just like technology and everything, but yes, we have in at least the last 150 years, everything has kind of, like you say, exploded and accelerated.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a couple of questions left for you, Peter, if that's all right. Sort of like just to round it up and everything, if that's cool, and then I can let you get on the rest
for sure.
of the day. But these are sort of my generic questions, if you will. But what I want to find out from you, first of all, is your 3 most pivotal albums that kind of defined your, I don't know, your career and yourself. Like, kind of like the album you've heard and you wanted to become a musician. The one that made you want to play metal, for instance, and things like that. What if you could whittle them down to like 3? What would those sort of like moments or albums be?
Ooh, that's tricky. I would say Kiss Destroyer from 76. I got a live one in 76, but then I still think like this is Kiss Sgt. Pepper album. Yeah. Kind of, and it blew me away. That will be one of them. And I would say also The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust from 72, I would say, also paved the way for me. But when it comes to the more brutal stuff, when you wanted to be somebody, so to speak, when you wanted to be a metal star or whatever you want to call it, I would say Welcome to Hell with Venom in 81.
Yeah.
Because they just went all the way. I mean, you thought Kiss was cool in the 70s, and then, yes. Venom came out and they just blew everybody away. They were bitching at everybody left and right and telling everybody to fuck off. And they were really rebels,
Yeah.
And also with the black magic stuff they had in their lyrics. So, yeah, actually, black metal would put that more defined, I would say. So there you have three albums.
Those are absolutely
all different from each other.
Yeah, no, I mean, but they're all superb. I mean, Kiss. I'm a Kiss fan, so it's they're a legacy on their own, not just sort of like for everything they've done for the kind of rock world, the way they've kind of made it.
Yeah, they influenced us 70s guys.
Yeah.
Who's playing in music, to do. I think a lot of us.
Yeah.
For what we are, and I think David Bowie inspired Kiss, but you had also Alice Cooper that inspired Kiss and things like that. But I think it all goes in a thread all the way back to Beatles, because I'm a huge fucking Beatles fan.
Yeah.
And there's nobody who can write music like these guys.
Yeah.
And I will stand for that till I die.
That's, I mean, being from the land of the Beatles, and my mother was an absolute huge Beatles fan. Because she was around in like the sort of 60s and whatnot to see them in their prime and whatnot. And just having that in the household and listening to them. And at one point I took the oath and covered one of their songs. And
me too.
And it's sort of, it's one of those things. Should I do this? Should I be doing this? Yes, I should. But it's just sort of going back to that far and just sort of having that in my life. Anyway, the Beatles, yes, I mean they're
and that was actually a huge influence for Kiss. I know Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons were huge Beatles fans, and they always wanted to be, Paul and John.
Yeah. Yeah,
from when they started and things. But I mean, there's nothing that touches Beatles. Nothing. And I mean, Elvis Presley, for sure, but he never wrote any music. He was a great singer, a great artist, but he never really wrote anything. I think he has a few credits on there, but the Beatles guys, they did everything themselves. They invented also the way how to produce together with George Martin.
They did.
Oh, we need this. And George Martin had to scratch his hair and just went, okay, let's do it like this. Oh, now we want it like this. So, I mean, they are insane.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely.
That's all I can say.
No, that's all good. And Venom as well. Venom, I think that goes without saying, they are iconic.
Oh, yeah. They started the black metal.
They did.
Nobody else did.
Yeah, they are very, and like you say, they were kind of like, they were pissing everyone off, or they were telling everyone to fuck off. And it's just sort
of... They were punk rockers.
Exactly.
Like Sex Pistols.
Yeah, it was...
But in a brutal way.
Yeah. Yeah, there was like a brutal punk band that influenced an entire genre. Which is really cool. And like some Bowie. I mean, there's so many superlatives you can say about Bowie. He's so versatile. It's different songwriting. I know.
He always reinvent himself. That's also another thing that really blows my mind. Anything from when he was just this troubadour kind of thing to when he went into the glam things. And then he went into the disco with Let's Dance. And then, or even before that with Heroes and stuff. And even on the last album, he reinvented himself again, before he died.
Yeah.
I mean, the production is insane.
Yes, it is.
Everything is insane. The songs are so weird and so good.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a hell of a leaving present on that front. That album. And I mean, I've got loads of his stuff on vinyl right next to me, in fact. And I'm often listening to him like throughout the ages, even through the sort of like.
I was just a little disappointed when he started to. I mean, he was a great Elvis Presley imitator, but when he started to sing like that, it started kind of on Diamond Dog. He changed his vocals totally to more just deeper thing, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. I really like Hunky Dory. I like. Out Insane and also the Rise and Fall of Siggy. But I mean, music wise, he became more like he wanted to be like Rolling Stones somehow for me.
Yeah.
How I think, he turned from this glammy stuff into more Rolling Stones kind of music with an Elvis voice.
Yeah.
But still writing great music. Don't get me wrong at all, you know?
Yeah, I mean...
And then in 77 with Heroes, he did a new leap, so to say. And then in Let's Dance, he did another leap in a different way. So he was just constantly moving.
Yeah. Yeah. No one could touch him.
Nope. Only John and Paul.
Only John and Paul, yes. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. But those were different days, you know, 60s. Yes. The technology and, you know, music was pretty new at that time still. Yeah. You know, even though Bill Haley would Rock Around the Clock and things like that in the 50s and stuff. But, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Well, got a final question for you, Peter, and then I'll let you go. What I mean, you're probably going to, I know how you're probably going to answer this, but what are your hobbies away from music? So, you know, when you're not
politics.
writing for your 3 bands, what are you doing?
Checking the news all over the world. I don't know. I got some kind of fetish of this now. I don't know what's going on.
Call it a doom fetish, don't they? Or doom scrolling.
Yeah, it'll make you fucking go insane. Reading all these news and hearing stupid people. And oh my God, it's just insane. It's almost you want to run for politicians soon.
Yeah,
it's just insane world we live in. These people has nothing to do with the people, you know, only about their own careers.
Yeah,
they're such a stuck up, fucking selfish motherfuckers. Anyone from left side and from the right side and the middle, they're all in for one thing: to fucking increase their bank account and their egos. Yeah. That's all they do. Look at this fucking G20 meeting. They ain't gonna fucking do shit. They just stand there and telling people, yeah, it's going to be great, blah, blah, blah. The only thing they do, raise the taxes for everybody, so we hate them even more. And nothing really is going to change. People are still going to drive their cars. I mean, they do electric cars. Yeah, but where are we going to get the fucking electricity from? Oh, coal factories. Oh, great. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Stupid people. You know, and all these fucking propellers everywhere. They don't generate enough. You can't fucking even plug in a Tesla to one of these things because the amps that it needs, it's not enough. They have to come up with something better.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's, yeah.
It gives me a fucking stomach ache. I just get so mad because they're not smart enough, you know. No. Of course, we need to save the fucking world. There's no doubt about it, but just try to do it right.
Yeah, and just watching it happen is it's painful. I mean, I sat through when I was going back to when I was living in Florida, because I didn't go for citizenship or anything like that, so I couldn't vote. But I watched the election.
Oh, yeah, me neither.
And I went through and saw, and I called it from the start. I said Trump's going to be there at the end because he's the way he's playing this game.
Because he's insane.
He's insane.
He's insane. He doesn't give a shit about these old rules about the old blood that's been inside Washington, D.C. He just went out and told everybody to fuck up. And I guess people like that.
And people like that. And it got him front page on everything. So a lot of people probably wouldn't read the news but see his face everywhere. So I go, I vote for that guy. I vote for that guy.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, we got cut off. So I don't know if the powers that be were in control of this and cut my power, but a power cut hit my house. And it actually corrupted the audio files as well, which I managed to salvage thanks to my skills as an audio engineer, I suppose, and the equipment that I've got. I managed to actually salvage them because it wasn't opening and everything. So I actually got this interview to you after a little bit of stress and everything like that. So really enjoyed speaking to Peter. I want to thank him now if he does listen back to this in any way. Thank you for this interview. I'm really enjoying it. Everyone go check out the album. It is out on the 26th of November. Nuclear Blast have got it. It's called Worship. So go check out the tracks that are out now. There should be 2, maybe there should be 3 now actually. So go check that out on the streaming services, pre-order the album, all that kind of good stuff. And until next time, have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.